In a quiet, forgotten town, there stood a tiny shop filled with the gentle ticking of 1,000 clocks. This was the workshop of Elias, an old clockmaker whose hands were as steady as time itself. His shop was a museum of moments, home to towering grandfather clocks, delicate pocket watches, and whimsical cuckoos that sang on the hour. People whispered that Elias could mend any timepiece, no matter how broken. But his true gift wasn't just his skill with gears and springs, it was his ability to listen. One afternoon, a young woman named Lila stepped inside, her hands cradling a small silver watch. It was silent, its ticking heart stilled months ago. She placed it on the worn wooden counter. "This was my father's," she said, her voice barely a whisper. "It's all I have left of him." Elias nodded, his eyes kind. He picked up the watch but didn't reach for his tools. He just held it, closing his eyes as if feeling its history, its pulse, its silence. Lila watched, a flicker of hope in her heart. After a long moment, Elias opened his eyes and said, "This watch isn't broken, it's just tired." Lila looked confused. He smiled gently. "Some things stop working not because they are damaged, but because they've been carrying too much for too long." He carefully opened the back of the watch, revealing the tiny, intricate gears within. They weren't broken, but they were worn thin from years of tireless ticking, of marking every second without a pause. "It just needs a little rest," Elias explained, "and a little care." Lila returned to the shop every day that week. As Elias delicately polished each gear and oiled every spring, she found herself telling him stories about her father. She spoke of his early mornings, his selfless nature, and the way he never complained, even when exhaustion lined his face. Elias listened to every word, his hands moving with a gentle rhythm, as if weaving her memories into the watch itself. He wasn't just fixing a machine, he was honoring a life. Finally, after a week of patient work, the watch was ready. Elias wound it with a slow, deliberate turn. A soft, steady ticking filled the quiet shop, a sound Lila hadn't heard in so long. Tears welled in her eyes. "It sounds just like it used to," she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. But Elias wasn't finished. He placed a small wooden box on the counter. Inside lay a second watch, simple, golden, and new. "This is for you," he said softly, "so you don't forget to take care of your own time." Lila shook her head, overwhelmed. "I can't possibly accept this." But Elias insisted. "Your father spent his life giving his time to others. You deserve to give some to yourself." She took the golden watch, its weight a gentle, steady presence in her palm. It wasn't heavy, but it felt important, like a promise. Years passed. Lila became a familiar face in the shop, her initial sadness replaced by a quiet curiosity. She learned from Elias how to polish gears, how to mend a broken spring, and most importantly, how to listen to the stories that time held. When Elias's hands grew frail and his steps slowed, he gave her the key to the shop. "This place needs someone who understands time," he told her. "Not just how it works, but what it means." After Elias passed away, Lila kept the shop and its heart ticking. People traveled from all over, not just with broken clocks, but with heavy hearts and untold stories. And just as Elias had, Lila listened. On her counter, two watches always sat side by side, her father's silver one ticking with the memory of a life well lived, and the golden one from Elias, a quiet reminder of a life yet to be lived. Whenever a customer asked about the two watches, Lila would smile and share their story. "One reminds me of the precious time others have given me," she would say, her fingers tracing the silver watch. Then she would touch the golden one. "And this one reminds me to give time to myself." The clocks in the shop would chime in agreement, each tick a quiet testament that time is precious not because it passes, but because of the love, care, and rest we choose to fill it with.